Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tash Teaches. I'm Tash, and in today's video I wanted to do a deep dive into how I advertise my music. I posted a video about 8-ish days ago entitled Why You Don't Need Social Media to Succeed in Music, whatever that meant, and I think probably the thumbnail, which was me doing something like this and it said fuck social media, I think that must have ignited a certain spark in a large group of people on the old interwebs, because the video had done very, very well, and with that level of engagement has become a lot of questions from people saying, can you show us how you do this and what is it that you're talking about in running ads? So I thought what we'd do, instead of just me talking about this, is I'm going to find a song of mine from the past that has pretty much flatlined, and I'm going to re-advertise it, and I'm going to show you what I do to advertise my music in real time. So without further ado, let's jump right in and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I am in my Spotify for Artists right here, and you can see that I have pretty consistent streaming numbers all throughout the year. This is the last year. On average, it seems to be ranging from about, say, it's always the lowest on today. So maybe like between 12,000 and 21,000 streams a day. That is across the huge amount of songs that I actually have. So if we actually put up my Spotify, I have a lot of songs up. I think I've got about 116 now, many of which I have put in this playlist here, which are releases on my label, Glitter Cowboy. But if we go to my profile, you can see that many of these songs have done very, very well. So I've got some tracks here that have got 10 million, 3 million, 2 million. I think in total I've got about 15 songs with 1 million streams or more now. Somebody asked me the other day, why are they all not in popular? And popular takes into account what's popular right now, i.e. what is getting more streams than the others right now. So even this one right here, this was a track that came out a couple of months ago with a friend. This only has 82,000, but the speed at which this is gaining plays is growing faster than, say, one of the others. There's one called Don't Walk Ahead. Don't Walk Ahead has millions of streams, but again, it's not growing at as fast of a rate. This one's got 1.8 million. So anyways, what I want to do is find a song that I've made today that doesn't seem to be growing at all. I've actually gone ahead and picked that. If I go in here to music, there's a song called In My Soul. The reason why I've picked In My Soul is because I think it's a brilliant song that never actually gained the amount of traction that I believe it deserved. Classic. It's got 120,000 plays, but it came out 4 years ago. This was one of the tracks in this brief burst where I put out an EP sort of every month, I believe. Like if we try and find what that EP was called, I think it was called Sacred Heart. Yeah, here we go. So this was a tremendous EP. I really think it was one of the finer. In those days, I was doing 4-track EPs consistently, or at least a 3-track EP. Some of them were 5. And I liked the idea. I liked the idea of consistently putting out a lot of music. And it actually really helped me, I think, kickstart the algorithm. Nowadays, I would recommend going for singles, though. I know that's a bummer to hear, and I've definitely had a lot of debates with people who say, oh, but I want to make albums and stuff. And sure, 100%, that's great. Put out an album for the sake of that delicious body of work, but understand that it will be a lot harder to gain the traction that you'd like. And there are a couple of points I want to make before we dive into the advertising aspect of this all, and that is that there is a thing called SPI, Spotify Popularity Index. And, the Spotify Popularity Index is one of those kind of things that's a little bit murky, a little bit hidden behind smoke and mirrors, because they obviously don't want to tell you exactly what the answers are to the burning questions we all have. But I've gone ahead and asked here in pretty poor English to Perplexity, what is it that kicks in? I seem to get a pretty consistent answer to this, and this tracks in line with what I have experienced. But basically you have a score, and I'm actually just going to go here to an interface that I created for myself, which just checks my index. So this is the popularity index of my profile, i.e. Tash. I have a 43, and this is of my latest song, which has a 26. So if we go back to here, we can see that tracks that have within a 0 to 20 are generally new or have very low engagement. in general, most people's tracks will be between like a 0 and a 5. Like most of the people who I talk to who have like 10 monthly listeners, even 100 monthly listeners, they have 0. There's like no popularity. There is nothing happening with their music on Spotify. Here, 21 to 50, this is of course the range that my new song is currently in. This range indicates moderate popularity. Tracks may have some consistent plays, but are not widely recognized or included in major playlists. And here's the kicker. Really, the majority of us aren't going to go anywhere in here. This is more for the Ed Sheerans and, you know, all of the top-notch artists. But here under 51 to 70, songs in this range are relatively popular and likely to be featured in playlists. A decent level of listener engagement and maybe climbing in popularity. I imagine that like my biggest hits, which is Sophia's theme, this one, there's a way that I could probably check it, but I don't want to waste our time right now going and loading up the app that I created for it. But this is probably like, you know, a 40, 45 or something. But the artist score as well isn't just the addition of all of your songs added together, but there is something very important here, which is the fact that I've got the question a lot of times of people saying like, okay, well, how do I get people to listen to my music? If they're not listening to my music, how do I get them to listen to my music? For example, one of my friends, a guy called Sideway, he hit me up the other day to say that he was losing his mind with the way that Spotify just doesn't share your music with people. He's like, here we go. So he's got 55 monthly listeners. When I checked the other day, he had two monthly listeners. You can see none of these songs have over 1,000. That's why they don't have any score here. But I can guarantee you that he has a popularity score of maybe like 1. And all of these tracks are probably like 0. So the majority of people who are asking me for tips on like how do you get your listeners up, it's kind of a chicken and egg situation. And what this boils down to is the fact that in order for people who don't know you to hear your music, Spotify's algorithm has to share your music with them through a variety of means, whether that's through Spotify radio, and radio can also just be like at the end of a song, your song comes on and plays to other people who maybe Spotify has figured out might want to listen to your music. It may also be in algorithmic playlists like Release Radar or Discover Weekly. And actually, let's see if they mention it here. I think, let's see, what playlists kick in at different SPIs. Again, this isn't 100% accurate. We're just asking perplexity here, but here we go. So like between 21 and 50, your music will probably be on a New Music Friday or Discover Weekly playlist. You may then start getting into more of the, for example, if I go back to here, some of these playlists that I'm on, like Organica, you can find my music in here. I've got a couple of songs in this playlist. This has like 800,000 saves. So I get a pretty decent amount of plays from this playlist, especially having 2 songs quite so close to each other. Then I've also been featured on like big ones like Umami. This is another one where I'm a little bit lower down, but again, the track has been on there. For a long time, I was on a playlist, and I think this was truly what kickstarted it all for me. I was very, very high up on this playlist that now has 3.2 million streams. This didn't used to be an algorithmic playlist, i.e. made for Tash. What they mean by that is that they are adjusted so as to appeal specifically to you and your tastes. In the past, this was just a curated playlist with 100 tracks in. Has it still got 100? No. But my Sophia's theme song, the one with like 11 million plays almost, that was like track 1 on this for many years. And I think that really helped. But why am I saying this? Well, the thing is, if you want to have a lot of streams, if you want, when you put out a new song, for it to get streams without you spending money on it, the irony is that you're going to need to spend some money on it. Or, by all means, go and create a shit ton of organic free content and like, you know, learn the trends, learn how to play the algorithm so that you can get your music heard in an organic free way. I don't want to do that. I have no interest in sitting there trying to figure out what the latest trends are on TikTok so that I can put my new song behind the correct dance move of the day so that I can, I have no interest in that. So I understand that in order for me to grow my music career, quite like if I had a landscaping business or if I had, I don't know, a real estate business, I can't just like sit around at home and expect for A, houses to just turn up in my portfolio, and B, for buyers to rock up and be curious about it. I need to do a little bit of work to get out there and get my name known so that when people have the option presented to them of what it is that they want to listen to, that I am an option. And also that people will then actually pick me because not just am I an option, but they feel the veracity and the authenticity of the music that I've created. Anyway, all this to say, you need to get your SPI up. And so this guy here, it doesn't matter if he puts out a new song, nobody is going to hear it other than the people who he absolutely brings through to this. So like he may send it through to somebody on WhatsApp and say, check out the new song. And like, I never listen to a new song. Maybe like once out of 100 will somebody just send me a song on WhatsApp and be like, yo, listen to my new song. Why? Why should I listen to your song? So many people do that all the time. Like I have no interest in this. All this to say, when you get somebody who is not a fan of yours to come to your Spotify and listen to not just one, but maybe 3 or 4 of your songs, and then maybe click follow, and then from that follow, add one of your songs to their playlist and all that kind of shit, you're indicating to the Spotify algorithm that, hey, this guy draws traffic. And the key part of that is that the more you can do that, the more Spotify will sort of like meet you halfway and be like, okay, cool. Well, we're also going to pitch you to people with these listening habits. And so who are the kind of people who are likely to end up on your Spotify from an ad or something like that? They're people who liked what you made. They liked what they heard and therefore they wanted to engage with your content more. What I want to show you is that if we go back here to just music, for example, and I go to playlists, I can say, okay, well, in the last 28 days, where did I get my streams from? So 70,000, let's just do 7 days, for example, because this is a really important thing to understand in terms of how do I get my 250,000 monthly listeners around there. It fluctuates between around 245, 270, depending on if I have a new song out, whatever. How do I get those streams? I'm not really advertising unless I have a new track out. Which I should do, really, but we'll get to that. Well, radio. Radio is a personalized playlist, meaning it's not even really a playlist. It's just if somebody's listening to something, I come on after. I get in the last 7 days, almost 20,000 listeners, 20,000 people have been listening to my music by recommendation, which has accounted for 28,000 streams just in the last 7 days. Discover Weekly, almost 5,500 people, 8,000 streams. So you can see a lot of these are algorithmic playlists created for listeners based on what the algorithm thinks that they will like. If we scroll down here, Spotify editorial and personalized editorial playlists, 2,911 individual people through this playlist. If we go back here, show all, all of these playlists, this is Cassie. I'm even being recommended in other people's playlists, which I think is kind of fun. You can also see what track it is. You can see when it was added. If we go down here now, this is where the real kicker is. This one is a playlist I made. This is Tash, made to copy it look like the other one. But here, second most. Bearing in mind, this was just in the last week. This playlist has got me 939 individual listeners. And of that, almost half of them, or almost every one of them, listen to a track twice. This playlist is, if we just open it up, some dude, some D-Babs, this guy, D-Babs right here, this wonderful looking guy, he created a playlist that has 14,000 subscribers. This is not a Spotify editorial playlist, this is just a Spotify playlist with one of my tracks in it. I think actually maybe a couple of them as well, because this guy, I guess, likes my music. Let's see how many are actually in there. Deep, tribal. You can see like it's a popular playlist. So Tash. Okay, I've got 3 tracks in this playlist because this guy likes my sound. Okay, let's go back to this now. We've also got this playlist here. This one has 4 of my songs in. 4 tracks. Cafe d'Anatolia. Let's look at this one as well. Which one is this? So this is Beach Club Lounge House. Who owns these playlists? How did I get on these? Beach Club Lounge House. This one has, Tash, 4 of my tracks. Again, yeah. This is owned by someone called Myrta Hiss. Got 16,000 saves. Myrta Hiss. Who is she? Let's have a look. Myrta Hiss. Oh, okay. So she's a real human. She's a real person who just happens to have a Spotify playlist. Cool. We could message her, we could befriend her, you know, whatever it is that we would like to do in order to connect with these people who are supporting us. Anyway, let's go back again. The point is that just in the last 7 days, I have been added to 17,000 playlists. How? Let's do show more here. You can see that most of these playlists, if I scroll down to the bottom, only showing 100. These playlists here aren't getting that many. This has only got me 28 plays, this elegant deep house playlist. Buns and buns. You know, these aren't bringing in massive numbers, but there's 17,000 of them, which indicates that even if they're not huge amounts of plays, what we do have very clearly is engagement. Spotify can say, dope, okay, so this artist is spreading his tendrils wide across the platform. In fact, let's do now, just in the last 28 days, how many playlists? 48,000 playlists have put my songs in the last month. And if we were to go here to say just music, or where would we do it? Maybe we go, can I do this? We'll do all time. How many playlists have I been put in across all time? Okay, it doesn't let you do that. It will only let you do 12 months. But yeah, 239,000 playlists currently have my songs in them. 31 editorial playlists. You can see here that I actually got 205,000 streams from Deep House Relax. Pretty crazy. This is just in the last 12 months. That's why. Yeah, it would be way more than that. I think this would probably be something like 1 million playlists if we include the last 13 years of me doing this. Anyways, all this to say, sure, lots of my plays come from editorial playlists. Lots of them come from, you can see here, 1.4 million plays came from radio. But a huge amount of streams come through these listener playlists. And these are most of the time things that happen because of people curating your sound. And they like your track and they hear it on a playlist and they put it on a playlist. And then they put that playlist on a playlist, and it's a cumulative effect. So this is why I use two tools mainly. I use SubmitHub, which is for playlisting, and I use Hypeddit. I also use just Facebook ads, but for the sake of demonstrating the easiest and most efficient way of doing it, I'm going to show you it on Hypeddit because I do it both. Anyone who I'm showing how to do Facebook ads, I recommend they do it on here first, because you can always then go in and tinker in Facebook ads afterwards, but for the sake of keeping this simple, we're going to do it on here. But these two tools are really all I use. I will also just add as well that there are a couple of other things that you can do here in Spotify. For example, here is a marquee and showcase thing. You've got two types of campaign. Marquee, I believe, let's see, one of them basically just pops up. So this is like a showcase and this is marquee. These Spotify say are like the best bang for your buck, and because of the fact that you're basically advertising to people directly in the app. I have not had great experiences with these. I spent $620 on a track called Disappear, which ironically is one of my most streamed tracks now, so may very well have had something to do with that. But if we click on this, you can see that the actual cost per click you're getting on this is absolutely nuts. It's just way too expensive. So let's see here. It doesn't even let you see anymore. But long story short, it was okay, 1,240. Let's do $620 divided by 1,240. I'm spending 50 cents a click, which I suppose isn't that awful, but still. Okay, let's take our song that we wanted to use, which I believe I had said was going to be... Well, in actual fact, let's see if there is something. If we go back, is there anything with just no streams that could do a lot better? Something, okay, I mean, this one has very few. This one is Orient Express. Okay, this actually could be a good idea because this only has 9,000 streams. Obviously, this is a lot more recent. I just want to see how many this is actually getting. This might be our winner, actually. I always thought this was a cool track, Orient Express, but the thing is it's a bit too long. I would also recommend nowadays making tracks shorter. Okay, dope. I mean, this is going to be a perfect example. This actually had some days of getting 0 streams. I stand corrected. Okay, so in the last 12 months, this basically did nothing. This is the perfect track. So we're going to take this Orient Express song and I'm going to copy the share link. And first and foremost, I'm going to go to my submissions here on SubmitHub. Now, the way that SubmitHub works is you upload a release. And then that release, you put in some information, you put in who it sounds like, blah, 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 blah. Is it meditative, all that kind of shit. And then you pick playlists to pitch to. I have had some pretty good success with SubmitHub once I took into account one thing, and that is that I think my music is great. I think my music is all suited to every potential kind of playlist out there. I would like for every playlist to put my songs on there. But if we scroll back to the beginning days, 42% sure. This one, I was just kind of like pitching to people who I thought would like it. This only got 8% approved. This is a banger of a track, right? This is a really, really good song, I think. I know a lot of my fans would agree that this is a really, this is a hidden gem. But the thing is, I didn't take into account who I should be pitching to. And so, like in a couple of these, I just pitched it to people who wouldn't give a fuck. And obviously they're going to say no, which is a waste of money. So if you think about like return on investment in terms of like advertising spend, a great way to waste your money is to not sit down and carefully pick who you're going to send it to. Since I've started doing that, even this last one I tried doing only got like 20%, whereas these ones I'm now getting a far better rate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do submit a song, and I'm going to upload a new song. I'm going to find the link to the track, which is this one. I'm going to put it in there. Great. Should I upload a version of it? Do I even have a version of it downloaded? Orient Express. I do. Okay, so I'm going to upload this. This is in case they want to upload it to YouTube or something. So let us just do that. I'm going to say it is released. It's public. When was your song released? It's a shame that I should even have to say that. EP 2023. Let's just leave it as is. Who gives a fuck? I'm not even going to tell them that it is too old. Can it be streamed anywhere else? Yeah, so we might as well also go, and you've got your new song. Let's go here. Orient Express, Apple Music, Tash. Pull it up. Okay, so the Hidden Meanings EP, Orient Express. I'm going to copy the song link. We'll put that in there. Add another link. Let's go for Deezer, Apple Music. No, that's not what I'm searching for. Deezer, Tash, Orient Express. You get the point. You know, we're going to try and find this on all of the possible platforms that might be useful. So we'll do To Tell the Truth. No, that's not what it is. Orient Express. Partager. Copy. Okay, dope. We'll just put those two in for now. The track is now uploaded. Cool. So I'm going to do next. The track is by me. Obviously, if it doesn't come up there, you need to go in and find who you are. This track doesn't feature anyone else, so that's fine. I'm going to do next. Does this song have lyrics? No, it doesn't. What can you tell us about this song? To be honest, anytime I've tried to put this stuff in, it doesn't really do much. You know, I haven't necessarily found anyone respond to the points I've put in here. Sometimes I've tried to be real heartfelt and express to these playlisters what it is that this song meant. But if they don't like the song, they're not going to put it on the playlist. So frankly, I don't give a fuck. I don't do any of that shit. That's why it says it's optional. Does this song rely heavily on AI? No, it did not. AI did not play a role in making this song. So finishing uploading, we've now uploaded the track to the system. Now we want to submit it to some curators. I'm going to click submit to curators. I don't really like using the influence thing. Once I tried doing influencers. One thing that is cool is you don't get your credit, you don't spend anything if they say no. So, you know, that would be really shitty if you were just sending money to be like, yo, influencer on TikTok, would you like to post my song? Here's $5, and they go, no. But the thing is, the quality of the content was pretty garbage. I had some like very strange characters that also I think just like, I don't necessarily want to make it seem as though, not make it seem like I genuinely don't want my music to be pushed in such a way that I have some of the characters on here, like I just don't agree with their lifestyle choices. Totally fine for them to go and do it, but I don't agree with having my stuff be on some like weird makeup tutorial about consumerist bullshit. So I don't want that. We're going to go to curators. Average share rate, 31%. Boom. Premium. I don't do the standard, I do premium. And then here's an important part. Who does the song remind you of? What artists sound similar to this song? Well, that's something we would actually have to think about. Kind of tricky. I'm going to say Gabrome. These are just, for some reason, what I always get here. It's actually kind of hard to say. I'm not sure, but let's say if we go here to go to song radio, who is going to come up afterwards? I don't really know any of these people. Spotify did this very weird thing recently where it just changed all of the people who I sound like to be people I have no idea who they are. Completely new vibe. It's obviously quite fast, that song. Let's take a listen again. I mean, it sounds like me, which is irritating. Who does this song remind you of? Again, it's kind of tricky here. Maybe we'll do El Mundo. We'll just do what comes with it. Maybe we'll say Dennis Ferrer. It doesn't, but you know, I'm struggling here. We'll say Dennis Ferrer. I mean, it is kind of like old school housey. Maybe we'll do Sandy Rivera, whatever. Okay, we're just going to stick with that. I would recommend try and figure out who your song sounds like. I sometimes run into the issue where I don't really know who my song sounds like because A, I don't really listen to much other people's music, and B, I wasn't trying to make it fit into a specific style, so I end up with this kind of weirdness. So, genre. Here's another thing that's kind of important. I don't really believe in genre. I think it's a limiting factor to be like, I make this music. I am a deep, tropical, underground tango house artist. I think that's dumb. Although, in some ways, it is very useful to know into what box you can put yourself into for things like this. So be aware that just because you think you do something, what would the average person say that you do? I'm obviously going to be some sort of house thing. So let's have a look. I'm going to put in house. My song is, let's take a listen again. Probably going to be deep house. Probably going to be Latin house. We'll say maybe organic house as well. It does feel kind of like Burning Man-y, even though it's very fast. Maybe we'll do tribal. Okay, you can only do 3. So let's say, let's not do Latin house. Let's go down here and we'll say that it is, what was the other option I said could be good? Tribal Afro house, we'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to click close. These are my 3 genres. You could also say analyze my audio. It's pretty bad at that. House, old school. I don't know about that. Well, I mean, for some reason it says it's a good idea. So maybe we will do just house, old school as well. Because I think they might be kind of right. House, old school. For house music that doesn't fit into one of the newer genres. Okay, yeah, cool. We'll do that. So we've got deep house, tribal house, and house. Okay, what is the energy of this? I would say that it's kind of sexy. I would say that it's moody, maybe romantic, chill, but it's also energetic. Okay, it only allows you to do 3 anyway. We'll do maybe energetic, sexy, romantic next. Okay, now, what kind of feedback would you like? It's funny because you have a few options here. If you actually change the percentage, this only gets approved 19% of the time with no feedback. And I think that's probably because of the fact that if people just click, if they don't have to type anything, they don't really have to listen to it, and they just like click no, whatever. Specific and honest, and please be gentle, say that they have the same average approval rating. One thing that I've found is that, sure, I'm an open-minded artist. I'm happy to listen to what you think about my art. I don't give a fuck. I have no interest in you giving me feedback on what you think should be different about my art. Sure, I'm submitting this music for playlist consideration, but if you don't like it, that's fine, man. Like, I'm totally fine with that. Really happy with it. But I have zero interest in hearing how you think that the hi-hat should be louder, or that you just don't think that the vocal has the right pizzazz. So I don't do specific and honest because people really, really, really will write a fucking essay on how they think, as playlisters, you should produce your music in the future. Don't give a fuck. So just do please be gentle. Even if they decline it, they say like, really loved this, fantastic hi-hat, really great groove. It's a no. I don't even end up reading their feedback anyway. I don't care. Save. Communication preferences, fine, email me, that's fine, whatever. Okay, yes, let them upload that song if they do it to YouTube. They cannot monetize my song, that would be ridiculous. And keep the ad revenue, fuck off. Okay, so Now we get to the meat and potatoes of SubmitHub. This is where we pick what playlists we want. And this is an important part because when I first started, I would just do choose for me. And I just click next. And what ends up happening, I'm not going to do it now, is it will just select a bunch of what it reckons would be good. And a lot of those times it will say things like, I don't want this, or I don't like that. I'm in a bit of a lucky position right now because I've had a lot of these accounts already approve my music. So I can see that this playlist here, they've approved my songs 3 times. This one right here has approved 2 of my songs. So, you know, I can see in the past that people have actually said yes to certain of my other tracks, so I can see which ones they'd kind of like. We can also see some information about the actual playlists in particular. So this one is a blog. This is the Perspective blog. Really good blogger, costs 3 credits. A credit is in theory $1, but they're always on sale. So engagement, what do we think? Genre match, this could be cool. I'm going to click, okay, sure. So we're going to go down here. This is a playlist. What kind of playlist do they have? Because they have 50 playlists that they are pitching for. But the ones up here that seem to be the most likely, this one has, let's just click, if we click on the playlist, you can then open them. So this playlist right here has monthly listeners 5 to 10 per song. It has 157 tracks. It's got 4,000 followers. I don't really tend to do too much due diligence on this, particularly if I know that they've shared me in the past. Because again, the key thing here isn't just to get a lot of streams, it's to be on a lot of playlists. And because being on a lot of playlists spreads the chance that you will be noticed by other people and added to their playlists, I'm not only going to pick people that have 20,000 followers on their playlist. I'm going to click OK. Nice. Dance FM Romania, they would prefer to receive, not romantic, but let's maybe just say that the song isn't romantic. Dance FM Romania, house, Afro house, melodic. Yeah, sure. Rabbit Hole. Okay, what's this one? We don't like auto-tune, aggressive and dark tunes. This is a key part as well, because it will sometimes say what they like and then what they don't like. So all types of house. Nice, nice. Okay, cool. Let's go back down here because this guy said, we don't like auto-tune, aggressive and dark tunes. We prefer groove and powerful tunes with smooth vocals and catchy vocal lines. I would say that this is that. You know, I'm taking a risk here. What about this one? B Yas, Yazin B. Cool. Boost your reach, submit your track now. Yeah. Sunny. Get it, man. Piano, vocal, disco, funky jackin'. Yeah, sure. Ibiza Sunsets. So, taking a break. Let's do playlist vibes. We're happy to get your music heard. Ablose, very active playlist. Sure. And we'll do this. You can see down here how many credits it is asking for. Right now it wants about 28 credits. So if we do Danceify, submit your best work, Elephant Bazaar, engagement 1. Okay, so this is something right now where we'd be like, okay, well, what is this? 100% Spotify, monthly listeners, 2030. I don't even really know what that means in terms of engagement on Spotify. But they also review for others. So fine, we'll do that. I'm going to do up to say like 50 credits. So what have we got here? Absolute Electronics, 4 credits. Gen Beats, this guy has supported a lot of my music. Shout out to Gen Beats. Jaziel Reynoso, whatever, we'll do that too. Gel Ravensloot, he must be from Holland. Oh, Belgium. He's Belgian. And then we'll do this, 3 credits. Boom, we're up to 50 credits now. So I could carry on right now, but I'm actually just going to stop here right now because I want to spend a total of $100 on this ad campaign situation thing. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. My anticipation would be to spend $100 on this little experiment. So let's do submit, and it's going to ask me for 50 credits. I only have 7, so want to provide a quick pitch? Nah, I don't. So I need 50 credits for this. It's going to give me 10% discount, $45 US. So I'm going to do next, and I'm going to spend $50 on that. So let's do confirm payment. It's going to use my card, credit payment, confirm. We'll see how that works. Okay. Big success. We have now pitched. Now, some of these playlists have said, you can see here, I've done 7 campaigns. How many actual curators? So we've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I may be on a total of 16 playlists. Some of these guys you can see here scheduled. This guy won't get back until the 6th of January. These people are on holiday. So maybe I'll make a video in a couple of weeks' time about how this track did. But this is how I go about doing the playlisting. Let's now just go back over to Spotify for Artists because I want to show you kind of what you can then expect for a track. This was a song I put out the other day. I did no PR at all until about like here. I stopped running ads. And those ads that I was running, I'm going to show you now in Hypeddit. These still got added to a bunch of playlists. This has been featured in 1,555 playlists, but I stopped running ads around here. And you can see that it just steadily dropped, and now we're getting 429. The reason why is because also sometimes a song just won't click necessarily. And that's not to say that it won't eventually, but there are some that just continue to pop, kind of like my YouTube channel. You know, I make videos sometimes and they thrive. They go really, really crazy. But sometimes I'm just like, I would rather invest my income, I'd rather invest my money elsewhere. So whether that is on the next track or whether that is on another creative project, you know, I'm not expecting every single song to do really well. However, some of my tracks, like for example, if we go here to, let's go to something like Disappear, because this is a prime example of a track that if we do all time, that's such a shame that it doesn't let you see all time, but this track, Disappear, that now has 1.9 million streams, every now and then there would just be these bursts of listens. And this actually started out as being a track that didn't, maybe we can do this, first 7 days, let's compare it with Jail Without Bars. Maybe it will give us the information. So it doesn't, yeah, okay, so you can see here that Jail Without Bars actually did better. My new song actually did better than Disappear. Disappear actually started to die. And it was then released in 2022. 2 years after, this track is now a hit, like a verifiable hit. If you go on my Spotify profile, you can see it's the most popular song. Like, I'm constantly being sent videos from people in Turkey. For some reason, it's so big in Turkey. I'm constantly getting sent videos of people in Turkey, like listening to this in a cafe and like DJ sets and that kind of stuff. So you can't tell which song is going to pop and also when it's going to pop. But what you can do is just make sure that you do your due diligence to get that first boost in there so that people do hear it, that it can start that process of spreading out. Okay, let's go back now to Hypeddit, because this is now the next thing. This Disappear track, you can see that I spent £488, which is 488 GBP in USD. And I spent $617 on this track. It says that the cost per click was 4 cents. This was actually 1p. It was actually 1 pence for a very long time. This is an insane performer of an ad. And I've spoken with a bunch of like advertisers and music marketers before, and they've been like, oh, well, we're very proud to have a 10 cent per click ad structure. And I would show them this and I'd be like, well, what about that? And they would have their minds completely blown. The only reason that this became then 4p was because they then reactivated it a couple of years after having turned it off. But this is a big winner, this one. And that was largely because of the fact that this, I wonder if I can actually unarchive it again, because this was a really great ad. This ad said, new music for Afro House fans. And if you actually, yeah, there we go. This was the ad, new music for Afro House fans, which is just like the default thing that it says when you start running an ad on here. But this section of music was actually the piece that was the most engaging on the ad. And people were obviously all chiming in the hundreds, if not thousands, to come in and say, that's not Afro House, that's Latin House. So that's a note there, is that you can definitely make some great engagement with people by being wrong. People love to correct you. But anyway, let's go back here. So you create an account with Hypeddit, you'll probably have to spend about $20 a month for this. There's a way that you can do it. I'll try and find it in the description down below, where you can do it for like $1, something ridiculous. Kind of sketchy business practices, but there is a thing called Spotify Growth Switch, which is what I did. And anyway, if I go now here to promote music, and then you go to music ad automation using the power of AI. Yeah, Facebook ads. So we're going to go down here, grow my, not artist profile or track. We're going to go to Spotify playlist. Now, this is something that somebody in the comments asked the other day. I'm going to go back to just full video for this. There is a thing called Spotify deep linking. And what this was in theory was the fact that instead of, let's go back to Spotify, instead of sharing a song, and what I mean by that, I'm going to show you right now, like instead of sharing the link to my new song, Joe Without Bars, let's go here, copy song link, let's go back to the home page. If I were to share the link, I'm pasting it in here, right? I'm putting it in my thing as if I am clicking on that link. What happens when you share a song link is that it goes to the account and maybe it starts playing it. Sure, it doesn't always. But what happens after, when we get to the end of this, boom, we are now listening to Sons of Maria. Whoever the fuck Sons of Maria are, I may have just spent like 50 cents to get somebody to come to listen to my song through an ad. So it's real irritating then that after Sons of Maria, did we go back to me? No. Now we go to Nubalix, Mickey Ikafer and Nubalix and whatever. The point is that you lose this new audience. So what deep linking did was it basically meant that you could create a playlist, and instead of sharing a link to the song or the playlist, you create a special link that auto plays the song in the playlist and then continues onwards. So I'm actually going to show you how you can do this. If you don't want to use Hypeddit, I actually created a tool that I'm going to post in the description down below, and the whole point of this tool is it just makes a special link for you. So this is how you do it. You create a playlist of your own. You put a bunch of your songs in there ideally. I've picked 87 of my songs that I would like people to listen to, and I'm going to now select the song, make it the first in the playlist ideally because it's your new song, paste it in here. Then take the link of the playlist and you paste that in here, and then you click generate link and it will create for you a magic link that, let's go back to the home page again. If I were to now click on this link, boom, it automatically starts playing the song in the playlist, and here's the kicker, ready? It then plays my next song, and if I just keep doing next, it's going to play every single one of the songs in this playlist. Now, why is this useful? Well, I would love for the option of, if I spent 50 cents getting somebody to come and listen to my songs, I would love for them to listen to 2 songs, maybe even 3, maybe even 87 songs. And also this gives me a chance to have more connection with these people, you know, to have a deeper relationship with them in a shorter period of time, because they're listening to a bunch of my music in an order that I think would be well curated for them. Also, small thing, if I spent 50 cents, which is also massive, and I would probably end up spending less than that, but let's say I spent 50 cents on a click getting them to come from Spotify or Facebook or whatever platform it is that I've advertised to them on that got them here. If they listen to one song, that meant that my cost per result, my CPR, was 50 cents per listen. If they listen to 2 songs, that now means that it's 25% CPR. If they listen to 10, then that just means that I spent, I can't even do the maths, what is it? So 0.5 divided by 10, 5 cents. Yeah, God, what a retard. But 5 cents cost per result. If they listen to 87, I know this is just ridiculous, what's the point of even doing that? But that meant that I now had a just tiny result. And chances are if they did listen to 87, they also followed me and saved this playlist, which means when I put a new song in there, I have a guaranteed audience. Now, the question that somebody asked is that Spotify deep linking playlist doesn't seem to be working anymore. Let me have a sip of my coffee. And that is because, yes, Meta, i.e. our overlords at Facebook and Instagram, changed their terms of service recently, which now meant the fact that when you open up one of these links through Instagram, it actually just takes you to this page and it doesn't start playing. And it looks like that. And you're like, okay, well, what do I do? And in theory, you could press play and it would now start playing, but it doesn't autoplay the track, and it also doesn't automatically take them to the playlist. This sucks. This is really irritating. However, and I can't necessarily show this to you on the phone. Maybe I can. Let's have a little look-see here. I think what we could do is, let's do this. Let's make a new tab. If I do this, hopefully, I can do this on the screen. Let's bring up my iPhone. And if I go now to Brave, if I find this magic link that I've just created, oh fuck. Interestingly, it does work sometimes. It's just, it doesn't always work through Facebook. So let's go in here, just take that link. Let's paste this in on the phone as if, what's going on here? Why are you not working? Well, let's try again. I want to use the fantastic new iPhone feature that is buggy as fuck and doesn't work. So let's go. I'm going to paste the link in. There we go. So we'll do enter. Let's go to it. So on the phone, what then happens is it shows this. And this obviously isn't as neat as what used to happen. If we click open app, it will now take you through to the playlist, and in the playlist, it will now play the track, and then when you are done, it will go stop sharing. Oh God, what is going on here? This is so buggy. But it will, oh my goodness. Anyways, the point is it will then play the next track. Let's get out of here, this is really annoying me. But it will play the next track. So one thing that you just need to do is to either let your listeners know, click open app. And it's one extra step. It's not good, it's not fun, but it's just, it does still work. You just have to click open app. And if they don't have the Spotify app on their phone, well, why are they clicking on it anyway? So it does still work. That's an important thing to know. Also, I'm going to make another video about this in the future, but the whole idea of sharing deep links, you could do this in emails. You could do this in SMS. You know, if you are truly building a fan base, like an audience, like we should be as artists, not inherently linked to the algorithm overlords of these social media giants, you should have a mailing list. You should have a way to email your fans, and you should be collecting their emails for that exact purpose. But anyways, let's get back to the main point here, which was Hypeddit. You need to connect your Facebook, you need to get your Pixel ID, you need to get your access token, all of that kind of shit. It's not actually that difficult. You'll find that there is a path to doing this. I'm just going to scroll down there so we don't look at my Pixel ID. I'm going to do next. There's a video on how to do that. It's pretty simple. But then the process here will say enter Spotify playlist URL. Okay, cool. So let's go back to Spotify. We're going to get the URL of the playlist. I'm going to put that in there. Next, it's going to ask for the song. Pick the song that we want to share. And in this case, we're actually doing Orient Express, aren't we? So why don't we actually bring Orient Express up a little bit? Just because that's the whole point of this ad thing. I'm going to maybe put it in here. Put it there, just for the sake of this ad. We're going to do copy song link. I'm going to paste that here next. Now we've got here artist name. I'm not going to put Glitter Cowboy. That's my label. It's a little trick that I started doing, which is to put my label as the artist. What is this genre? Well, let's say deep house, maybe. New music for deep house fans. Fine, whatever. Next. Now, upload cover art. If you want to, you can go and create like a cool video thing. You know, if you go here to upload, you could actually upload videos that have some cool stuff happening. You know, you could go and use AI to create some engaging visuals. But really all you have to do is, I've found, if you have interesting artwork, which is a huge thing, I would definitely recommend putting time and energy into creating interesting, beautiful artwork. This was, for some reason, a bit of an outlier. All of my other artwork, as you can see here, follows a specific style. For that one, I deviated temporarily. But you need to upload 3 snippets of audio. So I've actually gone ahead and automatically fixed the issue for us, which will then be to take the track in here. That's the wrong track, actually. Orient Express. Let's drag the track in. Now, I find that there are a number of kind of sections that work well for ads. Usually not the intro. The intro is usually not super interesting. What tempo is this? It's a 130 BPM track. Let's zoom in and just make sure that the track is on the grid. So we'll do turn off warp. And let's take a quick listen. So what I want to do is find a couple of moments that would be good. So probably from here. And they can be, I believe, up to a minute. So 15 to 60 seconds. Maybe we'll do this bit. So this could be a good ad. Like imagine you just hear this on an ad. And then we've got kind of weird as well. Let's take that. And then let's also do... Sometimes I recommend doing a breakdown, because a breakdown can be like quite an exciting sound. In this one, I don't really like the breakdown of my track, to be honest. On this one, I think it was a bit lazy. But I've now got 3 snippets. I've got this one, I've got this, and I've got this. There's basically the, 1, 2, and 1 plus 2. Now what I want to do is highlight all 3 of these, and I'm going to go here and do export audio. Obviously you may be using a different DAW. I'm going to do all individual tracks. I'm just going to do it. Can we do MP3? Yeah, we're not going to do WAV. We don't give a fuck about that, just for the sake of speed. And let's do orient add. So now we're going to go back here, and almost instantly, perhaps let's just take a brief moment to just pause and reflect on how far we have come as individuals with a sip of coffee. Very good. My girlfriend makes it better than anybody else. It's given it the wrong name, whatever. Okay, cool. So now we can start to add the files. We've got these 3 almost done. So number 1, probably should have given them a better name. Orient Express. It's going to take a second to upload. I had really fast internet at my old house. Have I uploaded the entire song? Is that it? Oh, interesting. You weren't able to do this in the past. Let's see. So nice. Okay, so we've got 3 variations here. These are all converting. We can now do next. Now, Tier 1 and 2 countries. These are the most expensive countries to advertise to. Tier 1 is the most expensive. You're going to have countries like Australia, United States, New Zealand, whatever. Tier 2 is going to be all of the others, like, once you start getting into like Tier 3 countries, this isn't necessarily super high quality fans. They are less likely to have the money to be able to buy products from you in the future or support you with merch or whatever. However, you may get more streams. But the overall quality of the advertising is lesser so. So I usually just leave it as Tier 1 and 2 countries and do next. Now, interests. Add manually. I don't do the AI thing. Here is where you need to pick what artists you sound like. Let's out of interest see what AI thinks. Let's generate with AI. I think this will probably be pretty shit, to be honest. The other day it said something like Taylor Swift with one of my tracks, which was absolute nonsense, of course. But it's selecting the best performing interests utilizing the power of artificial intelligence. This is also a relatively new feature that I don't tend to use, but I am curious to see with this very particular song. This is what the ad's going to end up looking like. So here we go. It says, your song is quite unique. To generate the best targets, we need more information. Okay, click here. Nice, so it couldn't do that. So in this case, who do we think it sounds like? Maybe we said it sounds like Gab Rome. Pick people who exist on Spotify. These aren't necessarily going to be people who you can pick as a Facebook ad. Maybe we'll also say Nicholas Jar. It sounds nothing like him, but for some reason, Nicholas Jar fans love my music. Nicholas Jar Facebook fans love my music. What else? Who else have we got here? Maybe we'll do Harvey Sutherland. Again, doesn't really sound like him, but we're going to do our best. Maybe we'll do Dennis Ferrer as well. Maybe we can do a couple of people like Caribou. For some reason, Spotify then, or Hypeddit then goes, oh, well, you mean like Caribou Coffee, which apparently is a coffee spot in Canada, which a lot of cool deep house fans frequent, clearly. That's fine. Can we do maybe one more? Who else is one of those kind of artists? Maybe we'll do Fortet. There we go. Fortet. And then we'll do next. Verify that you have 3 to 5 target interests. Now we're going to do generate interests off of those artists. It's going to come up with Nicholas Jar, Caribou Coffee, a bunch of strange ones for sure. Let's see. Shouldn't usually take this long. So for some reason it's completely frozen. I've never seen this happen before. But we can also continue on. So then you're going to pick a budget. This is how much you're going to spend per day. This interesting does need to work. So we'll see how that even works. But you need to pick how much you're going to spend a day max. It may spend a little bit more than this. Seeing as I said I wanted to spend 100 in total and I've already spent $50, and we have until the 6th of December. Why don't we do the lowest budget? So this, I'm going to do the cheapest potential budget for this track to see what it is. And I'm going to just do next, advanced settings. You can absolutely go in here and adjust who it is that you're showing it to. I think one of the things that I have the benefit of is that I can actually go to audience and I can see that the demographics of the people that listen to my music. I don't have a lot of kids listening to my music. I tend to have slightly older, yeah, like I don't really have lots of 24-year-olds. It's like 25. So maybe I'd actually do here, say like 25 to 44. Just because I feel like those are the people who are most likely to resonate. Maybe we'll even do 25 to 34, seeing as that is just like, no, we'll do 25 to 44. So I'm going to do 25 to 44. Gender. Most of the time I have a pretty male following, I believe. Actually, that's more so on, no, it's more so on YouTube. It's insane. It's like 99.7 male. So we'll do gender, all, add text, leave it as it is. And I'm just going to do next. This is what I was saying, that like I literally don't do anything here in terms of like, I don't change the text. I don't really do any of that kind of shit. Although we can go in here and say like, blast it, man. And you know, that's going to then change what the headline is here. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I tend to find that to work quite well. Audience interests, it still now hasn't done it. I'm just going to do save draft because of the fact that we need that thingamajig to work and it's currently not working. So again, save draft. Let's oh, that's why. It's because of the fact that I guess the audio is still doing its thingamajig. So next. Oh, are you joking? Are you absolutely joking? Promote music. Select. Maybe it's here as a draft. If that is the case, I'm going to be really fucking pissed. My Spotify audience thing. Where is my draft? Well, I'm pissed. Yeah, it's just completely lost my progress, which is mad irritating. Okay, well, this whole fucking process of me talking about how to run ads, I think I would actually rather just do it through Facebook Ads Manager, and I'm going to do that in a different video. But everything that I've just said remains the same. At that point, your track, if I'd actually had the audiences selected there, the audience interest, it would have let me start the ad. And eventually you would have a thing that kind of looks like this. Let's see here if we go back to active, completed, review, whatever. You would have something that looks like, where's my latest one? Something that looks like this, that you are able to turn on and off and pause. This track, for example, is paused. This was getting 59% of people were clicking on it and it was costing me 13 cents a click. If we actually look at the statistics, this was of course my latest track. I only spent £139 on it. And that got, let's see, so far we're at 20,000 or something, 20,000 streams. So, you know, we would have to work out the specifics of that, but you can see that if we look here over not 24 hours, we'll do 28 days, you can see that the link clicks, like it started out with huge amounts of visits. This was it showing it to a lot of people. And then the cost per click steadily came down with the link clicks going up. So that means that obviously the more people clicking it per amount you're spending, the cost per click goes down. Anyways, I'm fucking mad pissed that that didn't work. Because that makes, whatever. I apologize that if you've watched an hour of me rambling about this to get to the realization that that this didn't work. Anyways, I'll probably end up making a whole video about this. But I think the overall point is that you need to get your Spotify popularity index up. And you only do that by bringing traffic yourself. You can't expect for the algorithm to go and just like push you and get you a bunch of fans if you aren't engaged in pushing your music yourself. And whether or not, as I said, you choose to do that through creating a lot of organic social media content, which I imagine a bunch of you aren't. You don't want to do that at all. Thank goodness my microphone is still on. Or you want to spend a bit of your money to kickstart that process. You will need to do one of those two. people are not just going to listen to your music without you getting them there. It is your job as an artist, not just to create beautiful music, but it is your job to get that music in front of people to listen to it, if you want them to listen to it. By all means, just completely scrap the idea of sharing your music at all if you don't give a fuck about having an audience. Feel totally free in yourself to just say, fuck it, I only make this for myself, but whatever. I think that the key thing here is that you don't need to necessarily go and make a bunch of videos and posts about like, hey guys, I've got a new track out, if you just put some money into advertising. And as I've shown, like these work pretty well for me. And I would love to hear how they work for you. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. It's now been an hour of me waffling on, and I feel like it's not necessarily worth me continuing on in this video. I think I'm going to make some shorter form videos in the future about the specifics of this, including the Spotify popularity index and such. But thank you all so much for watching. Happy Friday and happy advertising.